Hi folks, this is Jake. Hope you're okay today. It's good to see you. I just want to talk about Sam Harris and the democratisation of knowledge. Um, I think that one of the things about our democracies in the West is that we become too technical in our language. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at any discipline, such as lawyers, for example, the legal fraternity, they will have a language, and it's a very complex and very sophisticated language. That helps for them to keep control of their discipline and to keep control of the agendas that they have, because if they have this technical language, it's very difficult for anybody else to come along and exercise power upon the lawyers, because they can hide behind their technical language. So technical language helps you to gain political or expertise control within an area. And what you find in Western discourse is there has been, the last 30 years, intellectual elites both in America and in Europe, where they have technicalized language in political discourse. So everything becomes very too technical, very intricate, and so ordinary people can't follow or understand the full details of what's being said. And what that does is alienate the popular grassroots people in democracy and gives control to the intellectual elites. This is very dangerous, especially if an authoritarian group takes control. So for example, if scientists take control of the political process, then that's going to be dangerous, because it's not being run by the grassroots people, it's being run by an intellectual elite. And so there are these intellectual elite groups such as scientists and other intellectuals of other types who will use technical language in order to mystify subjects, in order for people not to be able to engage with it, which means they can control of what they're trying to do. So one of the areas is Sam Harris and the New Atheist. They're encouraging a split, a dichotomy within our culture between the religious and the non-religious. One of the areas what they encourage is that science is the be-all and end-all. Science knows everything. But the problem is, he doesn't realise that if you give science complete control, they will be into what I would call mystification. They will continue to use technical language where ordinary people cannot engage with that, and that means that the scientists will be in control of our democracies. A technical word for it is scientism. So what we have to encourage within our democracies, as politicians and philosophers and thinkers, and anybody else who wants to get involved, whether it be people on the ground, in youth workers and social workers and community workers, what we have to get involved in is two things. A, the democratisation of knowledge, and secondly, demystification. Demystification, this is an idea that I've come up with, basically is to make sure that everything that you write within your books for community liaison, in your human rights legislation, in your journalism, in your scientific work, you make what you're saying simple so ordinary people can engage with it. So try to encourage demystification, avoid technical language. The other thing is democratisation of knowledge. That is, as policymakers, as politicians, as those who are engaged in philosophy and in academic work in universities, you need to encourage people to think about the things that Paulo Freire said about encouraging communities to take ownership of their education, to empower communities to be able to feel that they have the resources within themselves to be able to move their communities forward. And that means that they're not beholden, that they are not dependent on the technocrats, they are not dependent on the intellectual elites. Communities getting together with their own experience, their own history, with their own knowledge, can work things through. They don't need the technocrats, they don't need the intellectual elites. And we need to encourage a democratisation of knowledge. That means to say, give ordinary people in communities the confidence to be able to empower them to be able to do political work, community work, educational work within their communities. In other words, you as intellectuals are doing yourself out of a job. You're saying, you don't need us, you can do it. That's what you need to be doing as intellectuals and policy makers. You need to be democratised. There must be a democratisation of knowledge and a demystification. If not, democracy at the present time is in a very, very dangerous position, because the intellectual elites are too technical, and many people on the ground in our democracies are disengaged with democracy. And in the end, when democracies come under great stress, people will not be loyal to the democracies. So it's important that you encourage this kind of thinking. Start reading Parallel Freire, and that will help you to get a handle on what I've been saying. Thank you. Take care now.